Good evening. It is March the 25th, top of the week, Monday. I hope all y'all had a good day. I know it's hard to have a good Monday, after a good weekend, if you had a good weekend. But let's get into it, man. I don't like to waste somebody's time because, we got lives, we got things to do. So let's go into the topic. The topic is, do black women date white men for high IQ? And really, it's not really about. We're not talking about black women and white men right now. We're really talking about Candace Owens bringing up. Well, she didn't bring up the subject, but she responded on the Breakfast Club as to why she chose her white husband. So we'll see what it is that she has to say, and we'll react to it as the video plays. So let's get into it. Let's see what she's talking about.
Been used for evil. It really would have been used for evil.
I want to go back to something you said earlier because I know a lot of people will hear you say, "Well, Candace, you're speaking a lot about the black family, but then you married a white man."
Yeah,
Dr. Umar would have a huge problem with that.
Yeah,
Are you familiar with Dr. Umar?
I have heard of him. I have not listened to him. I'll be honest. What is his
argument? Pause it.
He feels that
So Dr. Umar, that's the first part of the question. So Dr. Umar, and they'll say a little bit about this. He is big on boys and education. He has been working on a school. I'm not sure where it's at this point, but his whole thing is to have an all black boys school. And he's big in the black community, especially out there in the States. And a lot of people out here in Canada know of him. He was in a few of those Black History movies, very big movies. So he's a big figure, and he talks about the fact that black people should not interracially date. So he thinks black men should really be with black women, and black women should be with black men. So it's interesting, though, that because Candace Owens has a lot to say about the black community. That is very true. A lot of the black community doesn't like what she has to say, but a lot of the things she says are true. We won't talk about that tonight, but we'll get into that maybe another day, her point of view. But it's interesting that she doesn't know of him. And that's another thing that we do in the black community a lot. We like to act like we don't know each other. She should know who Dr. Umar Johnson is. She claims to not. She says she knows of him, but she hasn't heard his material, which to me is a little strange. But okay, let's see what else she has to say.
Thing black.
No.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Every damn
No, he feels black men should be with black women because when you're talking about it from the economic standpoint, you want to grow the wealth as a black family.
But that doesn't...
and if you marry somebody from another race, then your wealth will be with that person, and he doesn't like that.
Okay, I would love to talk to him more about that because it's always very interesting to me to hear this paradox of black people who will make an argument that the system is racist, and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for.
I probably want to rewind just a little bit too, probably just a minute or so. But the thing is, though, Dr. Umar Johnson, he has a lot. He says a lot more than just the economy of black people and how we spend our money. But to be honest, even black people who are in relationships with each other don't really necessarily spend our money within the black communities, right? A lot of our money goes out, regardless whether we're in relationships with each other or not. So that is a problem that has to be looked at, right? So it doesn't matter whether black men and black women are dating each other. Even if they are, their money is going outside of the community, regardless. So there's that part. And let's see what. Rewind just a little bit, just a tad bit. I just want to, because there was something else.
Some of mine still on the internet.
Yeah, but I think it's unfair, and I think that a lot of times we're all talking from this castle of like, oh, these kids are horrible people because he said whatever when he was 12 or 13. It's like you don't have to live through what those kids are living through with social media. But I wanted to create this app that would help them because rather than them having to get like arrested for saying something, like there could maybe be like a school could make it a part of their purposes argument.
He feels
everything black.
No.
Yeah. Yes, it is. Every damn.
No, he feels black men should be with black women because when you're talking about it from the economic standpoint, you want to grow the wealth as a black family.
But that doesn't.
And if you marry somebody from another race, then your wealth will be with that person, and he doesn't like that.
Okay, I would love to talk to him more about that, because I mean, it's always very interesting to me to hear this paradox of Black people who will make an argument that the system is racist, and then also make an argument like this, which is essentially making an argument for the Supreme Court to revisit Virginia versus Love and basically say that Black Americans and white Americans shouldn't be marrying. I think the greatest thing ever is when people come together on the basis of who they love and get married. For me personally, I never thought of my husband as a race. It's just very interesting to me that see people go, she's married to a white man. When I look at my kids, I'm not like, oh, my kids are mixed. I married the person that it made the most sense for me to marry. I have a mind that is just, if you even knew half the things that I'm thinking about, the stuff that I'm reading, just go, 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 go all the time. It's difficult for me to find. It was difficult for me to find a partner that was a challenge to me. The challenge that I needed, whether you want to say like an academic challenge, whatever it is, with my same interests. It just was. What you will know, a lot of times people think that when people come together, it's because of how they look. Actually, I actually read this in a Thomas Sowell book, or maybe it was a Shelby Steele book. People tend to marry their IQ, which is interesting. You think like if you see two Black people together, oh, it's because they are two Black people, but actually they are probably better matched based on their IQ. I fell in love with my husband just because I think he is one of the most brilliant people ever. I love him very much. The stuff that we.
So yeah, honestly, she's talking about in the Black community. If I don't think a lot of Black people get together based on IQ. I think most Black men get with Black women because of how they look, and same thing with Black women. A lot of them get with other brothers because of looks, and a lot of us, our mind is stuck in the bedroom, and it's not about building and getting together with someone based on them matching your level of IQ or wanting the same things that you want, having the same outlook on life. A lot of the times we don't get together based on those principles. It would be good if we did. So I do understand what she's saying, but she's almost finished. So let's see what else she has.
We talk about, I'm like, there is no other person that I could have married. We have 3 beautiful children who are growing up in an environment that I am just so happy that I was able to, what every parent wants, to give your children better than you had, and that's all I can say. I'm just the luckiest person in the entire world.
How is he gonna feel about you not finding him attractive and just liking him for his mind?
Oh my God!
He got the smear already ready for the journalists that are listening. Kenneth says her husband is not. It was a bonus that I also think that he's beautiful and gorgeous and handsome, but it really was about his mind. His ability to just dive into any subject and comprehend it. Just any subject. I mean, whether you're talking about mathematics, economics, politics, he could read a book on chemistry, read a book on building houses, and he just comprehends the concept very quickly. So I know I married the right person, and I want every person to never allow race to be a barrier to you finding love. That is so foolish. That will stop you. And by the way, there has been so much toxicity particularly in Black relationships because of the media portraying Black men as this or Black women as this. And we just have to stop doing that,
Okay.
Have you ever dated a Black man before?
Yeah.
Okay, so she said there's toxicity in the Black community. I believe she said there's toxicity in Black relationships because of social media and things that are going on. And to be honest, that's not true either, because Black people have been having issues with relationships for a very long time. It's actually been probably like a good 40, 50 years now, right? And we'll have to talk about the reasons another time, but I think I know why she said it like that. She's trying to be, you can't go on a show like this, and she did a lot by even going on this show. You can't go on a show like this and just kind of, you know what I mean? You have to be careful with your words. So I think I know what she meant there, but she had to be nice about it. So she's almost done. Let's see what else she has to say.
Yeah, I dated Black men, which is another thing that I always find really funny because the media tries to portray me as someone who only liked white guys. Actually, if you want to be honest, I started off on a really strong Asian kick in my life.
Oh my gosh.
I thought I was going to marry an Asian man.
What's fine?
I did. My first
Okay.
boyfriend was Japanese. My second boyfriend was Korean. I just really loved Asian men. It was
Well,
weird.
that's like,
Yeah.
Wow.
like, I
And you was in
discriminate.
Stamford, Connecticut. There was an Asian population in Stamford,
Yeah.
Connecticut.
Well, I mean, there's Asian population everywhere.
I don't know. Was there a higher one in Stamford, Connecticut?
No, I think
Okay.
I just pursued Asian men. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
liked Asian guys.
Candace Owens fetishizes Asian men.
Oh my gosh. Stop painting the headline so they can
What
grab
do you
it. What is
think-
wrong with you?
What do you think is the biggest
Tell the truth.
misconception of Candace Owens?
I think
All
the thing
right,
that I
so
hate
that's
the
in
most
that-
is the media makes
that's it on that
always makes it
topic.
seem-
Yeah, so even when they asked her, she even mentioned about Asian men. And Asian men, hey, they're big on the whole education and IQ and all that stuff, especially your perception on IQ. We'll talk about that in another video, this whole IQ thing and what I think about it. But by how society treats IQ and people who are academically gifted, she's shown a trend, right? She's married to a white man. She did date black men, but she said she really was interested in Asian men too, Japanese, I guess Chinese or whatever. Those men are known in society to be people with high IQ and are academically gifted. So she answered in many ways, saying pretty much that she is a thinker. And yes, a lot of us respect Candace Owens because she is a very smart person. Actually, she's getting heat right now because I think she got fired just a day or two ago because of what she had to say about Israel and Palestine, right? So I think she might have lost her job. So she has smoke on both sides. That's what I like about her, is that she just speaks how it is. And when you do, sometimes when someone says something the way it is, sometimes you're not gonna like it. To be honest, when she answered the question about, and when she said IQ, when she came up with that, I was like, okay, why would you say IQ? Because it sounds like you're saying, are you saying black men don't have high IQ? And it's easy to get offended, right? But after you think about it, right, it's not something to be offended by. I think that black men who are thinkers there's a very small minority of us, and the same thing with black women. And I think it's hard for us to find each other because there's such few numbers of us. So I think that's really what the case is that when you're someone like me, and a lot of us brothers who talk about black women and the black community and why a lot of black men date outside of our race, we say the same thing, right? It's just like you can't find what you're looking for. It's not easy because there's a very small number on the opposite race when it comes to black people. So what I do think she's saying, yes, is that IQ is a big thing that she looks for, and she didn't find that when she was dating, and not the black men that she dated. Probably that's what she's trying to say. And the man that she is dating right now is very smart, intelligent. That's what she's saying. So I don't think that's something to be offended by, but I think that that's something we can talk a little bit more about when it comes to the perception of IQ, the power dynamics and race when it comes to white men and where they are in the power dynamic. Let's even talk about Chinese men because they're gaining ground, right? Let's talk about different races. We could talk about Indian too, right? And I'll tell you something. Let me just say something quick about Indian because I work and live around a lot of Indian culture, right? And to tell you the truth, I'm just gonna keep it real. A lot of them aren't geniuses. But the thing is, they stand behind the people who are geniuses. They follow the people who are geniuses. They don't have their own agenda. There's people who know things, and everybody else goes in that direction. The people who know what they know to keep the community and the culture thriving, those are the ones who lead the community. That's the problem in the black community. The people who should be leading the black community are not leading because we have our own perception of who should lead and why they should lead. So all these things we'll talk about. There's a lot of things to talk about, but I do like Candace Owens. Actually, you know what? I have another video though, and I didn't watch this one. It's a very short one. It's Candace Owens. It's something that she was saying about white men. I'm gonna send this video to you right now. All right. Okay. Let me see it. Because she said something. She has a video where she's asking a question. Why do white women keep doing this, right? And to be fair, if I'm gonna be fair with her and say, okay, I understand why she chose a white man, right? But if she has smoke for white women, which a lot of black women who date white men tend to have smoke for white women, I don't see why you would have a problem. I mean, white women are kind of like your family now because you're married to a white man, right? So, just in my opinion. But I'm sending that to you right now. Oh, wait, no, wrong person. I'm sending that to you right now. Tell me if you got it there. You got it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm gonna react to this 7 minutes, right? And if there's nothing really being said, we won't even go too far into it. Just shut it down early. But I want to see if she's being fair. What does she have to say about white women? Because in the thumbnail she says, "This is depraved. Why do white women do this?" Right? And I want to see if she's a genuine person. She shouldn't really have a problem with white women. You see what I'm saying? Because you're dating a white man, right? So let's not do the visuals on this one too, because I'm not really too sure. Yeah.
All right, white women. Now it's time for you to do some accounting for your crimes. Now, let's be clear. I'm very open about our racial and cultural differences on this show. I think these are things that we all know. You know, when you talk about stereotypes, they don't come from nowhere. I remember a very long time ago, I watched a stand-up. It was really hilarious. It might have been Chris Rock. It might have been Chris Tucker. I don't remember exactly who it was, but they were talking about the differences between white and black crimes. And they're basically saying, like, you can always tell the race of the person before the race is even announced. You know the race of the person based on the crime. And the stand-up was talking about, you know, you read a story and you hear, this is back when we used to be able to make fun of each other for our racial differences. And he said, you hear a story and it's like, this man, he got high on PCP. And he robbed a gas station and shot someone. You're like, black guy. It's like you hear a story and you hear that he followed her for 2 years. He wrapped her body in styrofoam. He removed each of her nails. And you're like, that's going to be a white guy. You know, our brains are not working the same. And there's one crime.
See, so far, that's what I say about Candace Owens. She's pretty fair, right? And she's not trying to. It is what it is. We have our perceptions in life, and you know, she's fair about what you would think a black crime would look like and what you think a white crime would look like, right? Yeah. So far, I'm okay with it. Let's see what else she has to say.
Crime that before I even see a picture of the person and they're arrested, I'm very aware that it's going to be a white woman, and that crime is in the territory of teachers that keeps doing with their students. This is just not, it's an exclusively white crime. It's going on forever. I remember the story of Mary Kay Letourneau.
Can you go back? Did she say what I think she said? Did she say what I think she said?
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, Candace. Let's go back just a little tad bit. I want to make sure I heard what she said there.
It's just not, it's an exclusively white crime. And it's going on forever. I remember the story of Mary Kay Letourneau. I was obsessed with Mary Kay Letourneau. When Mary Kay Letourneau went to prison, she just couldn't help herself. She was in love with him. And it's always the same story, right? The teacher has a full-blown marriage. She's happy. She's got kids. And she's willing to defy all of that because she can't resist a 12-year-old or an 11-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 14-year-old at school. It's very weird. I need to understand this. I need to understand this mindset. In fact, I know of a teacher, my own hometown, that the rumors were, but she was sleeping with somebody. I have a theory. Before I get into this story, I'm going to tell you what my theory is, okay? I think these women were losers in high school. They weren't the cool kids in high school.
and they kind of get to go to high school again and relive their lives. And then they find what they think to be like the cool kid and they start a relationship. This is my theory. This is my crazy theory. I'm sticking to it because that was the circumstance of a teacher from my own home district who never got caught, who slept with a football player. She was a total loser when she went to the high school. And then she went back and became a teacher. And then she had this affair with what she perceived to be like the cool football guy. So that's my theory. Now I'm going to tell you about Melissa Rockensees because she's the most recent in this epidemic of white women that are sleeping with students. Melissa Rockensees was caught. She was sending really sick messages, to a 14-year-old student. She is from Queens, and she is now being charged with rape, criminal sexual act, and acting in a manner that is injurious to a child that is less than 17 years old. The child in question is 14 years old. The teen obviously is not being identified, but is speaking out to the press about what happened. Now, Melissa Rockensees is a mother of 3. He claims the story went like this. She began messaging him on Instagram, sending a slew of lewd messages, including one that allegedly said that I will be moaning for you all day. Now, how did this affair get started? Well, he first emailed her over a problem that he had with another kid at the school because he felt comfortable with her. She made him feel comfortable. He had an issue with another kid. They began emailing, and those emails then became much more vulnerable. He says, quote, I was vulnerable with her. I'm smart, but I don't make good decisions. I work off of impulse. Well, that makes sense because you're 14 years old. If someone says, let's go do something, I say, all right, let's do what you said.
So I get it. So she's calling out white women for saying that, you know, they're not innocent. They have crimes that, you know, are usually when you see like a crime like that, when it comes to a teacher or whatever, yes, a lot of times it's white women, you know, with underage kids and whatnot. So I get it. But it's funny that we have a thing where we watch certain black women who tend to date white men, usually got a problem with white women and black men and, you know, not white men. So, you know, okay, so I sent you something else. Can you put that one up there? Because this is like some people are giving her heat for saying she's defending white men and saying how white men are the biggest victims. That's been like what would you say, a trending topic in the last year or so with her. So let's see.
Navigating the real.
So this is straight white men need to stop apologizing. So I'm assuming he's questioning. He has a question for Candace Owens, right? So we'll see what they're talking about. Hey, shout out to Cortez Smith for sure.
The world as a straight white male. How would
It's so true. It's so sad.
What is some of the best advice you could give a straight white male just trying to get through modern day America?
This is honestly like the realest question I've ever been asked.
So pause that. Is that Candace? Let's see if that's Candace.
Because
That's her, right? That's Candace, right?
Yeah.
So a white man. Let's pay attention here, okay? Pay attention, Cortez. Pay attention to what we're talking about here. So she told you why she dates white men, because they have high IQ, they're smart, whatever, right? We saw a video where she's throwing white women under the bus in a sense, because that was pretty hot. It was funny, and I get where she's coming from, but that was pretty intense to make a video like that, you know, pretty much just throwing white women in there. And then now we have a video where a white man is asking a black woman how he could navigate in the world, which is pretty amazing. Let's see what her answer is.
I feel so bad, and it's so crazy that we're here in life where like this is the question that was probably asked by Black Americans anywhere as they came together during times of Jim Crow, and now suddenly it's like
gosh, I better just problematize myself. And you have literally white people that are pretending to be gay or something on their college apps, just so people are like, oh, there's something different about them. So now I'll let them into school. And it's not a meritocracy if you're a white male. They're openly saying, we don't want you because you're a white male. So I first want to validate this question 100%, because I just did Dr. Phil. I was sitting around with professors that were saying
Hey, pause.
they
Pause.
don't allow people into their school if they're white, right?
Cortez, did she say that's the realest question? You gotta tell me which question you're talking about there. All right. But okay, let's see what else. Let's see what she said.
Right, because it's just problematic to be white. So the first thing I would say is that bless the fact that we live in this country and that you can be entrepreneurial and you can start your own businesses and you don't have to worry about what other people think about you or whether or not they like you. The second thing is that every person who is being treated like that needs to figuratively grow a pair, right? Stop apologizing would be the first thing that I would say, right? The problem is that when you are being, yes, you should applaud that. Stop apologizing.
Cortez, thank you. You know what? I think you're right. I believe she did say that when he asked the question. I didn't even catch that, but you caught that. She said that's the realest question. So she was really, like, you know what I mean? She could really relate and understand his question, right? You know, he's asking, as a white man, how can I go out there and feel good about myself? And, you know, she's like, oh man, that's the realest thing I ever heard. You got that, Cortez. Let's see what else she's talking about.
Apologizing when you do nothing wrong. And I think that what has happened is that people have been so afraid of being smeared that they just apologize even when they don't mean it. And that is the first thing that weakens a person, is saying stuff that you don't mean. It doesn't just weaken the individual, it weakens society at large. And so if you do something wrong, you obviously say sorry. But if you don't do something wrong, don't apologize. And know that you're amongst friends when you're in a room filled with conservatives, whether they're black, white, Hispanic. We all know what's actually happening in this country. And I do think that the size of this room demonstrates the mist of a sea change. So stay firm.
Thank you.
Okay, so pause. So she didn't, to be fair, you know, because we're trying to be fair here, she didn't say white men specifically. The title said white man, I guess because it's a white man that asked the question. She was really more talking about white people. That's what it sounded like. She was saying white people should not be apologists, especially if they didn't do anything. So I get it, but guess what? We're not gonna let her off the hook so easy. We got one more short video. Another person who's claiming that she's a white man apologist or whatever, and we want to be fair. We want to see. We're gonna throw everything at the wall and see if there's a case here. You know, I don't see a case yet. Because, like I said, that response, she didn't say with her own mouth that white men, this, that. She just said white people should not be apologists, especially if they didn't do anything wrong. That, my opinion, I'm not, you know, but I can't charge her for what a lot of people are charging her for it. But this is the last one. This is the last one for the case. Let's see if we have a case here. Let's see what they're talking.
Author and TV correspondent Candace Owens recently said that
Lord. I can't stand her name.
Speaking of Candy, that straight white males are now being treated the same as black people during the degrading segregation era in America. Here's a little clip I got for y'all.
And people, they're just trying to find something that makes them not white, right? And it's really staggering to think that once upon a time, that is exactly what the experience was for a black American.
Well, listen, both things can be true, right? You can't say that black people, there's no racism and that black
for political.
Find some.
So again, she didn't say white man, she said people, right? So we gotta be careful with that. So let's continue.
Thing that makes them not white, right? And it's really staggering to think that once upon a time, that is exactly what the experience was for a black American.
Well, listen, both things can't be true, right? You can't say that black people, there's no racism and that black people are treated just fine. They just got to pull themselves up by the bootstraps. And then in the same breath say, well, you know, white men are being treated like black men used to be treated. Well, exactly how is that? What are we talking about here?
Pause. Again, she didn't say that, that would make a big difference, which I can't lie. Candace is treading close on that, but she did not say white men specifically, which is why I can't really give her the truth. She said white people, so it gets blurred. But she could mean white men, and we'll go and look into it further, investigate into it further, and see her whole rhetoric and see what she really has to say. See if I could get her on something. But so far, I haven't got her on anything, not by what she said. So let's see what else they got to say.
Social construct anyway, and then none of these other groups were even considered white till around the 40s when they were called white all of a sudden for political gain. Candace Owens gets on my daggone nerves. Just the thought of her voice, everything about her just grates. It's like she tries to find the most incendiary thing that's gonna get her clicks and likes, and then she runs out there and says it. You know, that woman is just annoying. I'm like, who's your mama? Who's your pappy? Who's related to this woman? Somebody stop her. Everything about her is fake and phony, and she's a grifter.
Gowns, beautiful gowns. She continued with her theory of America not achieving equality for whites, specifically white men, and added that she wouldn't want to be one because it's not easy.
Pause. Let's see if they're going to finally get her saying white men specifically, and then we could go from there.
Really. I mean, look, this
I can't
country,
even read.
This country was built for and by white men, right? And for decades, they were the beneficiary of it all.
And she ran and married one. She was so. Oh, come on, you know he ain't oppressed. That's why you married him.
She said she wouldn't want to be a white man because it's not easy. She said the actually worst thing to be in this society, the one thing I would not want to be is a straight white male. Dr. Oleka.
She ain't got to worry about her husband being a straight white male. I saw them dresses he got on.
Dr. Oleka, does that concern you? Is that the one person you would not want to be in this country today, a straight white male?
Look, let me tell you like this. I don't think you should be discounting
what
she's saying.
Did you didn't fast forward at all, did you? Because they said I swear they said they're gonna play something with her saying that verbatim, right? But all right, so we're good, right? We haven't skipped anything or anything, right? It's a short video, it's 3 minutes, so I don't think we did. Okay, all right, cool.
Let me put it to you this pretty explicit way. If she's saying it, she's heard it from people who are straight white men. And if that's the perception, if that's how they feel, then that is an important thing to understand about the direction of the country socioculturally. You can disagree 100%. It doesn't even have to be true. But if that's how a lot of people feel, there is a problem in the country in terms of equality of opportunity. Certainly, I wouldn't say that exists at the same level that it did for Black folks throughout the history of the country. But if there's a rising population that feels like they are cheated and not supported, not treated equally, that's a problem.
It has been a problem for Black men and Black women for centuries, indeed. I got 20 seconds. Go for it.
I know. We should take those white guys that feel that way, move them to Oklahoma, and they can go through the surgery and become Black women, and we'll solve everything.
Dominique.
I got one. The girl is an opportunist, and those are white supremacist talking points. You will not replace me. Does that sound familiar? It's the politics of grievance, and they're a bunch of big crybabies. Get it together.
All right. So that's it, I guess, right? All right. Well, look, we got two videos here claiming. One of them said, Candace Owens says straight men need to stop apologizing. The other one says Candace Owens says being a white man is not easy. And on neither of these videos did I hear her with her own mouth say white men specifically. And there is a big difference between her saying white people and white men, okay? To me, there's a big difference. And I'll explain why in another video. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I find anywhere where she said that verbatim, because you can't say someone said something. You played a video where she said something. They didn't say what you said she said, but you keep saying she said this particular thing, but you didn't show us where she said it. You didn't give us the receipts. So yeah, black folk, we gotta stop doing that too. That's a big problem. But we're gonna talk about a lot of these other topics. There's a lot of things to talk about within this topic here, right? I'm not sure really how I'll go about it, how about tackling these subjects. But this was just a brief little short thing, and I can't charge Candace Owens for anything right now. I think so far her record's pretty clean in terms of her being a genuine person and believing in the things that she believes in. And I might not agree with some of the things that she believes in, but really I was seeing if I could charge her with being a bed wench, right? And if you don't know what the word bed wench is, look it up. Like Jason Black would say, look it up, right? So yeah, check that out. But I can't charge her with being a bed wench right now, especially if I didn't hear her say that with her own mouth. Okay, so we're gonna leave it at that. All right, we're gonna close it up. Shout out to Cortez Smith again, and all the brothers who come and check us out, man. We're gonna be going live every night at 9 o'clock, except for Sundays. Sundays right now is not looking too good. So, but every other day we'll be going live. So we're gonna leave it at that. And Justin Danforth, shout out to you. Yes, do like and share, please. All right, and catch us tomorrow. And we'll leave it at that. We'll catch you on the next one.